Dejounte Murray once again hits the game-winning shot to beat the Orlando Magic, while the game was not lost on the game-winning shot. We'll talk about the margins that are important on today's episode of Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 18th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the expert and site editor over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Coming to you from the State Farm Arena here in Atlanta. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to talk about the margins, where the Orlando Magic actually lost this game to the Atlanta Hawks. It was not the game-winning shot from Dejounte Murray. Plus, is it time to start Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz? We'll start diving into that question coming up on today's episode. But before you get into that, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. I'm recording this here inside State Farm Arena in Atlanta at about midnight. You don't need me to tell you what happened in this game. You don't need me to tell you the highlights or go through each individual play. We're going to do two, but you know what happened. You've seen the highlights. Paolo Banchero hit an incredible bailout three with about 9 seconds left to get them to tie the game and seemingly send this thing to overtime. Then the Atlanta Hawks made their comeback. Dejounte Murray took the ball up the court, no timeout. Markelle Fultz draped all over him, and he hit a tough shot. Hit an 18-foot runner as the buzzer sounded. Game, set, match. Atlanta Hawks are your winners, 106-104. It was the kind of shot that, frankly, you live with. The kind of make or miss shot that is part of the game, is part of the whole experience, is part of everything that you see. Make or miss league. Everyone says it. You live with these kind of shots. Well defended, tough shot maker, making a tough shot over tough defense. What are you going to do? But here's the thing. As Jamal Mosley always says, and Jamal Mosley's repeated this over and over now, that the Magic are playing a lot more close games. These games are not decided by those individual plays. They're not decided by, yes, score-wise, it was decided by that one shot. The Magic had their chance to win. They gave the other team an opportunity to take the lead. They took it. But the game was not decided there. Yes, you look at the box score, the Magic did good things. The Magic did plenty to give themselves a chance to win. They, didn't shoot the ball particularly great, but they got 16 offensive rebounds. They forced 23 turnovers. They scored 52 points in the paint. They did a lot of things that this Magic team typically does to put themselves in a position to win. But they did little things that added up and put them in a position where they could lose this game. To not only say give the game to Atlanta, like Atlanta won it, they deserved it. But they did little things that kept that door open. And instead of putting their foot down and extending a lead or taking a lead, the Magic gave away opportunities. And it was these little things over and over and over again that cost Orlando this game. It was shooting 16 of 22 from the foul line, 72.7%. That was the first thing Wendell Carter said. He looked at the box score first and said, we did a pretty good job on a lot of things. And then looked at it again, and it's like 72.7% free throw shooting isn't going to get the job done. It isn't going to let this team win games. Atlanta shot 20 for 22. In a game like this, those 4 points were the difference. And in fact, it's even more granular than that. It was Jalen Suggs splitting a pair of free throws with the Magic down by 3. Magic got the rebound, yes, and eventually Wendell Carter went to the line, and then he split a pair of free throws with a chance to tie the game. That stuff matters. It's the Magic giving up 5 offensive rebounds on a single possession with about 2.5 minutes to play that ended in Dejounte Murray hitting a floater to make it a 3-point game. That stuff matters. The Magic had an opportunity to end a possession get an opportunity to take back the lead, and instead they got outworked, they got out-hustled, they got beat to 50-50 balls, and Murray made them pay with a floater, not a tough shot at all, with an easy shot that made it a 3-point game. Certainly something you can overcome, and the Magic kind of did, but still something that kills you in the end. It's even more than that. It's the Magic not getting a single stop for the final 3 minutes of the game, with sending Trae Young to the line 3 times. He's making all 6 of those free throws after defending so well without fouling for the entire game. Sending Young to the line for those 6 free throws gave away an opportunity again to take the lead. Gave away again an opportunity to turn a 1-point deficit into a 1-point lead. Instead, it was always a 1-point deficit into a 3-point deficit. And now you start, it's not a huge hill to climb, but now you start to see how the Magic couldn't get this game done, where they made all those little plays in Friday and Monday's win over the New York Knicks. They did not make those plays Wednesday against Atlanta. And it even goes deeper than that. It's finishing quarters. In the final 2.5 minutes, final 2:42 of the third quarter, the Magic turned the ball over 3 times and scored only 3 points. An opportunity to expand on a 1-point lead turned into as much as a 4-point deficit in the final 2.5 minutes of that quarter, and ultimately a 2-point deficit heading into the fourth quarter. At this point, we are midway through the season now. At this point, we are looking ahead to the playoffs. The Magic are sitting in the 8th seed, playing tournament there. This team is going to have to learn that these little plays, these little moments, these little things add up to be something big, add up to be something huge. And when they get to the playoffs, these moments will determine whether they win a game, whether they determine if it's a 1-1 series or a 2-0 series, whether it's a 2-2 series or a 3-1 series. And these are the little things you have to learn. At this point, it's all learning lessons. It's a young team. They haven't been through a playoff race. They're still figuring this stuff out. But as much as you want to look at the big thing, at the big shot, at the big play, it's the margins. It's these little plays that add an extra point or 2 here and there that, maybe turn a 5-point lead into an 8-point lead, or a 3-point deficit into a 1-point lead. These are the plays that really do swing momentum, that change the outcome of a game, that the Magic didn't make in Wednesday's loss. Look, you could chalk things up to one game. It happens. It's not the end of the world. But these are the things that are going to matter for this team very, very, very soon. And at this point, we know the Magic aren't going to shoot great. We know this stuff. At this point, it's about the margins for the Orlando Magic. We're going to talk a little bit about whether the Magic need to make a lineup change and whether it's time to finally just rip the Band-Aid off and start Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz. We'll talk about their games and what it means for the Magic coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With more than 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP. Bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. We want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on the platform. Locked On Sports Today has you covered 24/7 with the top sports stories of the day with local experts like me, as well as our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel today. Okay, a lot of Magic fans, and we were talking a little bit about it in the press room, are talking about the lineup decisions that Jamal Mosley has made. and whether it's the right time to make these decisions or not. For the second straight game, Mosley opted to close the game with Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz. We're not obviously not at the full lineup yet because Franz Wagner's still out. Chuma Okeke stepped in a little bit in that regard, and obviously Franz Wagner is a big piece to be missing. But we are starting to see this Magic team become the team that we imagined they would be at the start of the season. Now, the question that everyone's asking and everyone's wondering is this the right time for that? Is this the right time to make this move? Right? Are they ready to handle the minutes load? And look, we were told before Monday's game that Wendell Carter would be on about a 12 to 16 minute restriction. He blew past that. At the end of the day, Mosley said the game's going to tell me how long these guys need to play. And he reiterated again earlier Wednesday as well, that he's going to, it's easier to control guys' minutes coming off the bench. And look, Wendell Carter played 24 minutes. Markelle Fultz played 30-15. They're getting closer and closer to their regular minutes. And obviously, they're closing games. And there is some debate to be had. Markelle Fultz is frankly a non-shooter at this point. He did shoot 5 for 8 in this game. He scored 10 points, but he passed an open 3, hesitated on a 3-point shot. Teams know that he is not a shooter. They're helping off of him. It's a real issue, but Fultz also is able to get downhill. He's able to get to the basket. He's able to create some suction and some gravity with his drives that free other people up. Now, he didn't pass the ball particularly well. He had assists, 4 turnovers in this game. It wasn't Markelle Fultz's greatest game, but on top of that, he's also a really good defender. He's a defender that they trust. Wendell Carter did have an excellent game. It had a second straight excellent game. He scored a season high 18 points, 6 for 7 from the floor, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, 3 for 4 from the foul line. The miss, of course, is what I told you earlier. 5 rebounds in the game. The rebounding is still the part that's maybe a little shaky with him. But Carter's an excellent defender. And we saw his defense, his ability to press up while still getting back to defend the rim a little bit. We saw that defense on full display. And I'd certainly feel much more comfortable starting Wendell than Markelle at this point. But at a certain point, we got to see that group out on the floor. And honestly, this is the ultimate thing. As much as people want to criticize Jamal Mosley's decision, and maybe there's some criticism there, Goga Bitadze did have an excellent game. He had 7 offensive rebounds, really kept the team in this one in the first half, ended up with 10 points, 10 rebounds. There's a lot to like about what Goga Bitadze did. Wendell Carter's a better player. And Wendell Carter played better in this game. He gave them more versatility defensively. He was a better defensive stopper throughout the game. And yeah, the rebounding wasn't the same, but his ability to cover both Trae Young in the perimeter and to sink back to the paint, that's why he's playing. And honestly, at the end of the day, the reason why he's in at the end of the game, the reason why so many of these rotation decisions that so many fans are questioning is because Jamal Mosley trusts them. Now, whether that trust is well-founded or not is maybe up for debate. But Jamal Mosley trusts these players. He trusts Markelle Fultz to lead this team and be a leader for this team. He trusts Wendell Carter with his defense in a way that he doesn't have with the other players. Goga Bitadze is opportunistic. And I'm not going to sit here and say he's played poorly this year. He's played fantastic, but he makes a lot of mistakes. And, I talked about points in the paint earlier. Atlanta had 58 points in the paint. And a lot of that was Bitadze over-rotating to try and block a shot he can't block and leaving the offensive rebound open. A lot of that was Bitadze being late getting back to the paint or losing contact with the roll man and letting Trae Young get an easy lob to Clint Capella or Onyeka Okongwu or even Jalen Johnson. These are, again, little things that add up. And the Magic got crushed in the paint. If they weren't forcing turnovers, that lob play was there all game. Their low man was late, and that's Chuma Okeke, that's Paolo Banchero, that's sometimes Jalen Suggs, that's sometimes Cole Anthony. Their low man was late. They weren't able to get enough contact on rollers to the rim because, again, Trae Young warps your defense. He takes up a lot of attention even when you play him well like the Magic did in this game. And so, ultimately, what we have to be thinking about here is who does this team trust? And that's obviously, for better or for worse, Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz. I don't think a lineup change is going to happen until after the back-to-backs on Sunday and Monday. I think we will see a lineup change when the Magic go to Memphis next Friday. I know that's a long way away. It's only 3 games. The Magic Jamal Mosley's really said we have to have some practice time to not just to get guys integrated back, see where they're feeling, see where they're at, but get the chemistry of those lineups back down. But he's already playing those lineups. The starting group right now with Caleb Houston, Chuma Okeke, they've done yeoman's work. They're defending extremely well. They even played, I'll even say it, they played well in this game. They had 19 points before they broke the lineup, which is pretty good for them. But overall, the offense for that group has been poor. And that's holding this team back. Everything that's holding this team back is poor shooting and offense. At the end of the day, the Magic missed a lot of open threes. They were 10 for 35 from three. If they make 3 of those open threes, they make 2 of those open threes, the Magic win this game. Like it's just a missed 3 at the wrong time. Paolo hit the crazy 3 at the end of the game, but this team has to make some shots. Again, that helps a lot. A lot of the problems that we're seeing are exacerbated by having so many missed 3-pointers. And that's where we're at. At the end of the day, the Magic got to get their 5 best guys out there. And, we don't know what Markelle Fultz's future is. We don't even know what Wendell Carter's future is with this team. But Wendell Carter is the best center option on this team. Markelle Fultz is still the best point guard option on this team. He makes them better, or potentially makes them better. And sooner than later, we got to see the starting lineup we all envisioned at the beginning of the season. We got to see it play. And frankly, these last 2 games where Markelle played really well against the Knicks, did some good things, played some great defense, especially against the Hawks. Offensively, it was a little bit rough. And then Wendell Carter just had back-to-back 10-point, double-digit games the first time this season. He's ready. He's ready to do more. He makes this team better. It's probably time, especially with the Sixers coming up on Friday, it's probably time to make that move into the starting lineup. We'll go through the final box score real fast because I've got to get out of here. I'm being pushed out very, very, very friendly by the State Farm Arena crew here. I want to thank them for letting me use this room. We'll get to the box score here coming up in just a moment. Before we do that, though, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at BetterHelp. Look, the cold, the weather can bring everyone down. The new year can bring everyone down too because you're thinking of renewal and you're thinking of things that you're trying to do. Well, we all need help to get where we want to go. Everyone needs help. It takes a village. It always does. And so if you're thinking of starting therapy, if you're thinking of finding that voice, that helpful ear, give therapy a try to help you make yourself better. It's just a guiding voice. It's just a supportive friend helping you with whatever you're dealing with, whatever you want to talk about. BetterHelp is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel as well. The NFL playoffs are here. The divisional round is coming up this weekend, and there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. You can find bets in their Explore tab. You can check out the Parlay Hub to find the most popular parlays and more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a touchdown today. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. We're going to go through the box score real fast here. We've already done a couple players as the Orlando Magic fall to the Atlanta Hawks 106-104. Like I said, there are a lot of little things that added up. The free throws, 16 for 22 from the foul line. The Magic did a really good job on the offensive glass in the first half. They gave up 7 in the second half, again, 5 of them on 1 possession late. Just crucial stuff, just little things like that. The Magic do force 23 turnovers for 28 points that fed a lot of their offense and really kept them afloat. Atlanta kept them in this game. And honestly, Atlanta played well. I want to give them their credit. It really felt like Orlando needed to expand their lead. They needed to grow their lead. They were in charge of this game and playing at their pace. I mean, the score says it. They held the Hawks to 106 points. That's really good defense. The offense just couldn't generate enough push. And, there are just a lot of bad shots. And Paolo, I think, was really guilty of a lot of those bad shots, just a lot of quick shots, a lot of settling for threes, not getting the foul line. This team that averages around 30 free throws per game to get only 22, even in a slower game like this, That's killer. And the Magic have to do a better job of getting downhill. They got 52 points in the paint, so they did that part at least. But again, gave up 58. Essentially, if the Hawks weren't turning the ball over, they were getting into the paint and getting lobs to the rim, which the Magic really had to clean up and never really did. Paolo leads the team in scoring with 26 points, but 8 for 25 shooting, just 1 for 5 from 3, 9 for 11 from the foul line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. A tough game in a lot of ways for him. Jalen Johnson, I thought, did a really good job defensively. Atlanta did a really good job bringing doubles hard at him and really making him work. He stayed on the perimeter because those double teams were there. They walled him up really well. And look, that jumper is really good. He's come a long way with that jumper. It's still going to be about him getting downhill, and he needs some help. He needs some space. I keep telling people this who are like, the Magic need shooting. I was like, I know it's not on the roster right now. Everything, the deadline's coming up on February 8th. I'm not anticipating the Magic doing anything crazy, but everything needs to be about adding shooting and adding space for Paolo and Franz to operate. And that means Franz has to shoot better from 3. That means Jalen has to keep this up. That means everyone has to keep their shooting up. And again, it comes down to being a little bit confident at the beginning of games, like setting a tone that we're going to hit some early threes so that the defense loosens up all around. That's not what happened in this game. The Magic struggled a ton from 3 early. And look, they're starting Caleb Houston right now. He has got the green light to shoot whenever he wants. Whether that's good or not, I don't know. I think it's time to reel him back in a little bit. But he was 1 for 7, and he missed a lot of open looks. He missed some quality looks. He has these games where he goes 1 for 7, 2 for 8, 2 for 7. He has these games where he misses a lot of threes, to get to that 4 for 7 game. Right now, that's all he really gives you. I mean, he defends well, but that's all he gives you offensively. And if teams are okay letting him shoot, and he has nights like this, it's a problem. And look, I suspect, and I could probably watch tape on this. I think defenses are even playing the Magic's good shooters. That includes Jalen Suggs, like they're non-shooters, because the Magic just aren't going to hit enough threes, and the Magic aren't going to take enough threes to really make you pay. So honestly, it's important that the Magic took 35 threes, because if they made a normal amount for the number of threes that they took, they probably win this game. The defense would probably shift a little bit in how they played them, but teams aren't scared of the Magic's three-point shooting, even among good shooters. And Caleb Houston should be considered a good shooter. And obviously he did not hit today. Chuma Okeke, same deal, 3 for 9, 0 for 4 from 3. That's why I feel like there has to be a lineup change. Like, Okeke is doing good things. His defense on Dejounte Murray throughout the night was fantastic. He really played a good game. But the Magic need something offensively from him. And that's the problem with the starting lineup right now, is there's just nothing offensively coming from it. Jalen Suggs scored 16 points on 6 for 7 shooting, 3 for 3 from deep, 1 for 2 from the floor, 4 rebounds as well for him. He said before a shoot around that he was feeling much better, that the illness appears to be gone. Still maybe a little vestiges of it, but it appears that illness has completely worked its way through the team, and it appears that they are back on the mend and back moving in the right direction on that. Goga Bitadze, 10 rebounds, 10 points, 7 offensive rebounds, really big factor in the first half to be able to get those offensive rebounds. Off the bench, Markelle Fultz scores 10. Wendell Carter scores 18. Cole Anthony scores 10, but on 3 for 10 shooting, just 1 for 6 from 3. Again, you're seeing a lot of the Magic's key three-point shooters just missing a lot of threes. 1 for 6, 1 for 7, 1 for 5 from Paolo. If he's 2 for 5, they win the game. If Houston is 2 for 7 or 2 for 6, they win the game. They just got to get their good shooters to make shots. And statistically, these guys are good shooters. Percentage-wise, they're good shooters. Defenses are okay letting them shoot right now. And so when they get those open shots, they got to make them. And so sometimes it's a game where you just miss threes. There are other reasons why the Magic lost this game. But that's been a constant theme. We've had a lot of these losses where you just say, make some shots and the Magic are fine. Orlando shoots 44.3% for the game. Again, 10 for 35 from 3, 16 for 22 from the foul line. Hawks are led in scoring by Dejounte Murray with 26 points, 11 for 18 shooting. Again, I want to repeat, I really do think Chuma Okeke did fantastic work on him, make him really work for those shots as well. Trae Young scores 18, but on 5 for 14 shooting, he ended up 1 for 6 from 3. Murray and Young combined to shoot 2 for 10 from 3. So the Magic defense did really well. Atlanta shoots just 8 for 25 from 3, giving up only 25 threes to this Atlanta team is really impressive. But the Hawks do shoot 51.3% from the floor. Again, a lot of stuff in the paint. They ended up with 58 points in the paint and 20 for 22 from the foul line. Again, a huge difference in this one. The Atlanta Hawks defeat the Orlando Magic 106-104. Orlando completes their second straight 1-3 road trip. 3-game homestand coming up, but a difficult one. Philadelphia on Friday, Miami on Sunday, Cleveland on Monday, and then a nice long break They don't play again until next Friday at Memphis. A break to get some bodies healthy, get some guys healthy, maybe shift the lineup around a little bit, get back to who the Magic can be. We saw what that looked like on Monday. We saw what that looked like for a good chunk of this game. The Magic are still an elite defensive team. They just got to find some offensive rhythm and hopefully get some guys back to do that. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them based on podcasts to your podcast enable listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. I want to thank you all for coming with me on this road trip. I'm again coming here from the State Farm Arena. I want to thank the State Farm Arena crew, if they happen to be listening to this, for letting me use the room very, very late at night. I know they got work to do and they got cleanup to do. So I appreciate them and appreciate people at Madison Square Garden and Kaseya Center as well for letting me crash late and get work done. But I appreciate all that and had a really fun road trip. I'll tell you more about it when I get home tomorrow. But until next time, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again for another episode of Locked On Magic.